A universe without humans. The Galactic Federation had fought for over a century. The war against humanity had been the most brutal in recorded history. Every fleet, every armada, every planetary stronghold had been thrown at the humans. And now, they were gone. Destroyed. Erased from existence. Or so the Federation believed. On the bridge of the triumphal dawn, Grand Admiral Ralveth raised his arms in victory. The cheers of 10,000 warships echoed across the comms. The war was over. The Federation had won. Or so they thought. A message from the grave. The celebration was short-lived. A signal pulsed through the void. Faint. Ancient. Almost mocking. Impossible, one of the officers muttered. The signal bore a human encryption. And yet, humanity was gone. The signal repeated, its cold voice sending a chill through every ship in the fleet. To the Galactic Federation, we never surrendered. We never fell. You killed our planets. You burned our colonies. But you never faced our dreadnoughts. The signal cut out. And for the first time the Federation knew fear. The stars go dark. Scan the system. Ralveth barked. Find the source of that signal. The scanners flickered. Then failed. One by one ships across the fleet lost power. Navigation, offline. Weapons, disabled. Comms, silent. And outside, beyond the broken sensors, the stars themselves began to vanish. Not by darkness. Not by shadow. But by something blocking them. Something massive. The return of the dead. Then from the abyss of space they appeared. Dreadnoughts. Human dreadnoughts. Each one a city of war, bristling with weapons beyond imagination. They had no markings. No insignias. Just black hulls scarred by a century of war. They had been waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the Federation to believe it had won. And now the real war would begin. The sky turns to fire. The first attack came without warning. One moment the Galactic fleet hung in space, frozen in stunned disbelief. The next, the first dreadnought opened fire. Not with energy weapons. Not with plasma cannons. With something worse. Reality itself seemed to ripple. A beam of pure, unfathomable destruction lanced through the void. And an entire battle group vanished. No explosion. No debris. Just erased from existence. The Federation's victory celebration turned into horror. A desperate response. Return fire. Return fire. Grand Admiral Ralveth roared. His command was met with silence. The Federation fleet was in disarray. Their weapons were disabled. Their comms jammed. Their shields flickered and died. And before their eyes the dreadnoughts advanced. Each one was larger than a city. Silent. Unstoppable. Merciless. Then the Federation ships finally fired. Thousands of plasma rounds. Millions of missiles. A storm of death hurling toward the human warships. And then, nothing. The human ships didn't even move. They simply absorbed the fire. Plasma melted against their hulls like raindrops. Missiles veered off course, detonating harmlessly. And in response, the dreadnoughts fired again. The fall of the Federation's mightiest. 5 more battle groups vanished. Hundreds of thousands of crew. Gone in an instant. Not even corpses remained. Ralveth's heart pounded. This wasn't war. This was extermination. How did we miss this? One of his officers gasped. Their fleets were gone. Humanity was destroyed. Ralveth clenched his fists. No. They had wanted the Federation to think that. They had hidden these dreadnoughts. They had waited. And now, when the Federation thought itself victorious, humanity had returned. An unthinkable choice. Ralveth's mind raced. This battle was already lost. But maybe, just maybe, they could still survive. He turned to his officers. Send a transmission. All frequencies. The comms flickered back online for one last message. He swallowed his pride. And then, for the first time in galactic history, the Federation's most powerful admiral spoke the words no one had ever dared to say. We surrender. A plea for mercy. The bridge of the triumphal dawn was silent. Grand Admiral Ralveth's voice had echoed across all frequencies, his words shaking with desperation. We surrender. The Galactic Fleet, the most powerful force in the universe, had just admitted defeat. But the humans? They did not respond. The dreadnoughts hung in space, silent, unmoving. No return transmission. No acceptance of surrender. Only the void stretching endlessly before them. And then, one of the human ships moved. A single dreadnought, its hull blacker than deep space, drifted forward. It didn't open fire. It didn't charge weapons. Instead, it transmitted a single message. A message that sent ice through every Federation officer's veins. No. The word appeared on every screen, every console, every display. No. Ralveth whispered. His second-in-command paled. They're refusing our surrender? That was impossible. War had rules, laws. Civilizations surrendered. The victors accepted. That was how war worked. But the humans did not reply further. And then the Dreadnoughts advanced. A fleet without hope. Panic erupted across the Galactic Armada. They were defenseless. Their weapons couldn't break through human defenses. Their engines were failing. Their navigation systems were jammed. Ralveth turned to his officers, his voice deadly calm. Are the planetary evacuation ships ready? A comms officer checked. Yes, sir. They're prepped to leave orbit. The officer froze. The Dreadnoughts had moved again. But not toward the fleet. They were targeting the planets. Retribution begins. The first planetary defense station was obliterated in an instant. A massive energy lance cut straight through the orbital rings of Duranth 4, splitting the planetary capital in half. The surface of 3 major worlds was already burning, their atmospheres igniting from the sheer heat of human weaponry. This wasn't war. This was judgment. Ralvetha's breath hitched. This is extermination. And for the first time in his life he realized, the Federation had never been the true superpower. Humanity had always been something else. Something that had simply held back. Until now. Until the Federation gave them a reason not to. The final, desperate escape. Activate every emergency warp drive we have left, Ralveth ordered. Get our people out of here. His officers scrambled. The flagship's warp engines began to spin up. Other ships did the same. But the humans were already prepared. The Dreadnoughts released a gravitational field so strong that the very fabric of space twisted. Warp drives failed before they could even engage. Every single ship in the Federation fleet was trapped. And then, the Dreadnoughts charged for their final attack. The silence before annihilation. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The Federation fleet, once the undisputed rulers of the stars, was trapped. Human Dreadnoughts blotted out the void like titanic harbingers of doom, their hulls exuding raw, unstoppable power. Grand Admiral Ralveth stared at the view screen, his breath coming in short, shallow gasps. The Federation had ruled with iron for centuries. But now they were the ones begging for mercy. And mercy was not coming. Because the humans had none left to give. The death blow. The lead Dreadnought moved. Not fast. Not with urgency. But with absolute purpose. A massive, planet-cracking cannon began to hum on its underside, its energy core spinning with unnatural speed. Ralveth knew what was about to happen. And it was worse than death. Because humans didn't just break their enemies. They erased them. A single shot pierced the void. It didn't just hit a ship. It hit the Federation's very existence. The triumphal dawn, the pride of the fleet, was torn in half like paper. A second shot. Then a third. Ship after ship detonated like dying stars. And the Federation's last hope? Vanished. A message carved in fire. One final transmission echoed across the system. Not in words, but in destruction. The capital planet of the Federation, Lorvath Prime, was the last to feel Earth's judgment. A dreadnought descended. Not to communicate. Not to negotiate. To burn. Fire rained from its hull, plasma so hot it melted continents in an instant. The once proud homeworld of the Federation was turned to ash. And across the remains of the fleet, one final message appeared. Never again. The new order. The Federation was gone. The surviving world surrendered unconditionally. No terms. No negotiations. Only obedience. Because the galaxy had learned the one truth it should never have forgotten. Humans weren't weak. They weren't merciful. They had simply been waiting. And when the time came, they did not forgive. They did not forget. They ended. The galaxy belongs to Earth now. Want to witness the next unstoppable conquest? Subscribe now, because humanity's war has only just begun.